Everyone out there, thank you once more for tuning in to another episode of Expert Expertise. As always, I'm your host, Frank Edwards here, and we're joined today by a guest who is an expert in a topic that's, I'm sure, very much of interest to everyone in the Academy Awards, the Oscars. So he's here with us today to debrief everything that happened last week on the Oscars, and we just want to get his pulse, his reaction, his response to what was a very exciting day down in Hollywood and for everyone watching in. His name is Sid Pierce.
Sid Pierce, actually.
Sid Pierce. Okay, I'll make note of that.
Yeah.
Sid, thank you so much for joining. How's your day going so far?
It is going great. I am so happy to be here, Frank. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, you're very welcome. We'd love to have you. I mean, you look outstanding. I can see you let loose a little bit, bringing down the tie. It's been, I'm sure, a pretty chaotic few days since the results were announced.
Hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. All right. You know?
Yeah, excellent. So before we get to talking about the actual results, we'd love to know a little bit more about you. So the Academy Awards, from what I understand, your passion, your heart, your soul, how did you get into film? You know, how did you get that interest?
Yeah. Thanks so much for asking. So the way that I got into film was obviously by watching films. I was inspired by some of the greats. I really love the movie Species in the 90s. Fantastic film, top-notch marks. Sure. The Dumb and Dumber sequel, super good. Okay. Dumb and Dumber. Yeah. 2. Yeah. The one without Jim Carrey in it. That was where the real money was at. Fantastic.
Okay.
And then recently, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, by far my favorite in the franchise. Absolutely fantastic.
Okay. And I've not probably seen a movie in 10 or 11 years. Whenever the Santa Claus 2 came out was the last film that I've seen in theaters. But
fantastic film. The third one was better, but still good.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'll have to go check that out. Head down and grab a DVD. Were these big Academy Award winners, these films that got you into the genre?
You know, those films, unfortunately, were not recognized by the Academy at the time. But I think hindsight is 2020, Okay. So I think eventually they will win awards, just not this year or the previous years or the years that they came out.
Yeah,
that happens all the time.
Okay. So is there some sort of lifetime achievement award for films that were overlooked in their time, like a Citizen Kane? Did that win Oscars in the 1970s?
Citizen Kane, a little bit overrated if you ask me, but I think that while that category doesn't necessarily exist yet, it's going to. I just have faith, It's just one of those things.
Yeah, we'll mark that down as a big prediction out there for the listeners. I think they're going to keep an eye on that. That's such a cool idea to monitor. So, okay, so you got into film by watching film, which sounds like a very natural path there. And then now you're looked to as an expert. Are you a writer? Are you a podcaster? How do you get your expertise out there?
So I do have my own podcast. It's an Oscars podcast on iTunes, Spotify. And then I also do a lot of interviews with people that have won awards or think they might be winning awards or maybe are nominated.
Okay. And is this a full-time job, given that the Oscars happen once a year? What's your cycle like for release of the podcast?
Oh, trust me. The Oscars are a full-time job. Okay. I don't eat, sleep, or do anything unless it has to do with the Oscars. I love the Oscars. They're the best thing that's ever happened to America.
Okay.
Period.
Yeah, and I could see, watching the films, reading up on the actors and the directors. How does one eat the Oscars, though? How is that something that transpires?
Sure. So I won't eat food unless I've seen it in a movie.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So that's how. Yeah.
Okay. What are some of your favorite foods?
Some of my favorite foods are burritos.
Okay. And from what film comes to mind when you think of a burrito?
The Sandlot. There was a burrito in The Sandlot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have to go back and rewatch that. I don't know that I remember many burritos in that 1960s period piece comedy, but I'll take a look. I'm sure. Obviously, you're the movie expert. What am I saying?
I am the movie expert. Yeah. I also eat a lot of potatoes. Okay, sometimes with the burrito. Sometimes I put a potato in a burrito, and you have the best of both worlds.
Interesting.
Both worlds being burritos and potatoes.
Yep, got that. Yeah. Do you watch a lot of Irish films? Is that where the burritos or the potatoes come from?
No. Somebody ate some potatoes in the movie Alien.
Okay, in the one in space.
Yeah,
the alien. Okay,
correct. You need food anywhere. Planet Earth, in the sky, in space. People got to eat.
Okay.
Some people got to eat potatoes.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a real keen attention to detail, I have to say. I think many other people in that film would have had the takeaways about, the gripping fear of being out in space, chased by this terror as your crewmates are getting off one by one.
Well, when you're that scared, you burn a lot of calories. Mm-hmm. You work up an appetite. Mm-hmm. It's a fear appetite.
Interesting.
And it's only satisfied with potatoes,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll mark that down. I think that's just a good general life lesson. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Next time you're terrified, scarf down a couple potatoes.
Awesome.
It will help.
Awesome. And maybe to jump over to the topic at hand, I'd love to get your reactions on some of the films that won. So I just, again, not a movie expert myself. I've not seen a film in years.
I've seen all of these films at least 12 times. Today.
Okay, excellent. Do you have
That's an exaggeration, but this week, definitely 12 times.
Okay. Do you ever watch two films at once?
Sometimes it helps me fall asleep. Yeah. I can't really decide if I'm in the mood for, a comedy or a drama. I'll just put the comedy on one side, drama on the other side. And I can laugh, cry, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it adds to the experience, almost like blending together two fine wines and coming up with something new?
Absolutely. And let me tell you why. If you're watching a movie that's not funny at all, you kind of want, it makes you appreciate the comedy. Sure. So I'm over here, nothing's funny. I'm over here, everything is funny. So it's like, this is funnier. And then if you're just laughing the whole time, you don't really have an appreciation for life. Mm-hmm. Look back. Oh, wow. Back down to earth. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that pairing two movies from the same actor heightens the experience? Like if we were to pair Tom Hanks's Big with Tom Hanks's Philadelphia, where he suffers from AIDS and then passes away at the end, do you find that maybe putting those together from the same actor heightens the experience, or do you try to get a mishmash in there?
I would say absolutely. You should definitely watch movies like that. And if there's parts that you don't like, you just look away to the other movie. Boom. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's a lull in the comedy, but you love Tom Hanks as much as I do, which would be hard to do. Really like that guy. Look the other way.
All right. Okay. Well, so to the topic at hand, maybe what I'd love to do is get your reactions, not to the winners quite yet, but just the films themselves. So, I pulled up the list of Best Picture nominees. So, what did you like about The Trial of the Chicago 7 in particular? What was it about that film that spoke to you? Did you like it? Did you not like it? How did you find it?
I liked it, but I feel like there was a missed opportunity because it could have been The Trial of the Chicago 8, Mm-hmm. And I think that would just really push the movie over the edge for me. Mm-hmm. Would have made it a lot better.
Okay.
But I did think they did a decent job with 7. Mm-hmm. Just, maybe miscast a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so 8's a nice round number too. 7's a little bit uneven.
Exactly.
So maybe if they're
cut it in half, you got 2 4s. That's good.
Okay, excellent. And then would you say, on a scale of, let's say just come up with a rating scale, how many on a scale of 1 to 5, what would you have given that movie?
I probably would have given it.
I'd say 7.
I would say a 4 point. Can we do points here?
Of course. Yeah. You make the rules.
Like a 4.25.
4.25. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, maybe let's pick a different one. How about Mank? Could you tell me what Mank is about? Having not seen it.
I absolutely love the movie Mank. Mank is about a guy who he's really trying to find himself.
Okay.
Right. And he's in the corporate world. He's not really enjoying it too much. So he goes out and buys a skateboard. And the skateboard changes his life. He makes a bunch of friends that are much younger than him. They remind him that he's a child, and then at heart. And then he goes out and he raises a bunch of havoc. And he drinks a bunch of alcohol and parties a bunch. And he's a new person by the end of it.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, and I'm just looking a little bit into it. It seems like it's, as you know, it seems like it's about Herman J. Mankiewicz.
Right. They call him Mank for short.
Right. Yeah. Who is a screenwriter who passed away in the 50s. And I guess I just wasn't aware of the presence of skateboarding. That, I mean, I've heard of that I'm sure it was big in that Los Angeles area with all the sunshine and so forth. But I guess I wasn't aware how early skateboarding started in history. Well,
I think that was the beauty of the movie, because not a lot of people are aware of that. So it really brought something new to that era in Hollywood. They would call him Dank Mank, him and his buddies.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it sounds like a very fun film.
Very fun. Yeah.
Lots of laughs
the entire time.
Okay. And then I'm looking up another one of the nominees. It's called Sound of Metal. Could you, maybe without getting into any details on the plot, could you just talk me through kind of what some of the major themes were in this film, Sound of Metal?
Yeah, so some of the major themes, outside of metal,
yeah, sure,
were actually about sound itself.
Okay.
You see in this movie, the main character actually loses his hearing in a metal band, and it's sort of devastating.
Okay.
But the way that he sort of reclaims himself and reclaims his independence is by tap dancing. So he gets into that.
Okay.
Loves it. Yeah.
Okay.
And he's a new person afterwards.
Interesting. Tap seems like it would be a little bit difficult without being able to hear, but does the character struggle with that? Also, I would appreciate maybe no more details, given that was one of the specific things I did ask for, if maybe we couldn't get into the plot as much, but that's not a challenge for somebody to tap dance without hearing?
No, because when you lose one of your senses, your other ones heighten. So instead of hearing the taps, he feels them in his heart.
Interesting. Okay. He doesn't tap in front of a mirror so he can see the movement.
He closes his eyes, actually.
Okay. And was that also...
And he does it.
Is that also a comedy?
I laughed.
Okay. And then another film that comes to mind that I'm looking at on the list is Judas and the Black Messiah. Could you tell me about, maybe on this one we go a little bit in a slight different direction. You tell me about some of the acting that you saw. What was some of the acting that you saw in Judas and the Black Messiah, and how did you feel about it?
I was personally really satisfied with the Messiah role. Judas, I feel like he has one of those like faces that's overly expressive. Like when he's talking or he's trying to portray an emotion, it sort of feels like he's reading from a script. You know, like he knows what's going to happen at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
and that's kind of that's just one of the things that I picked up on personally.
Sure.
Having watched the movie 43 times. But overall, I would say the movie is great. I really enjoyed the dance number.
Okay.
And that's what I have to say about that.
Okay. So this Judas sounds like a real jerk. Tell me more about this character and why you didn't like him.
Well, I think the issue wasn't with the character. The issue was with the actor, personally. But Judas is actually a great guy. He's very helpful to all the supporting cast. I think that he got a bad rap. Probably one of my favorite characters ever.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to. Well, I probably won't see the film, but I can't wait to maybe hear more about it at a later date. So, getting up to the big, with our little. Oh, pardon me here, getting a little overexcited, knocking my microphone left and right. To maybe get to the big reveal. We'll have to add in a drum roll after effect here. So we'll just let that come in. All right, and then here we go to the big reveal. The winner of Best Picture for the night, as we all know, was Nomadland, Monadland. That took Best Picture. We saw a couple other awards too for that film. What do you rate that? How many stars would you give that, and why?
I absolutely loved Nomadland.
Uh-huh.
I think it's a modern telling.
Okay.
Of some of the greatest films that I've seen. I didn't care too much for the score of the movie.
Okay.
I think that
is it a sports film?
I think it's supposed to be a sports film, but the score throws you off when you listen to it. Oh,
score is in. I'm thinking the points scored by each team. No, you got me.
Oh, sorry. My mistake. Yeah. I think it's supposed to be a sports film, though. I think that's kind of where the director was taking it. Like, this is a sport, and there's no men in this land, but we need more of them. So they try to incorporate sports. So is it like a League of Their Own
type movie?
Yeah, I would say it's similar to that. Similar to that. Yeah. Similar to that. So, I mean, I liked the movie. Wasn't a huge fan of the score. I think that the subtle nuances, if you notice, there's a lot of characters with parts of their body painted red. Okay. If you look real close.
Sure.
And I think that was really cool, and it's kind of symbolic of the blood that runs through all of our veins.
Okay. Wow. And is it a long film?
I think this movie is actually only about 45 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, it's rather short then. Okay.
Yeah. I've watched it 50 times.
Almost more of a TV episode than a film.
But, I think that was like the secret. I think that they went a really good direction with this, because everyone thinks, okay, I'm going to win this movie award with a movie. And they were like, we're going to throw a curveball in there. We're going to win this movie award with a long episode. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I think they have the rest of the season planned to release on Netflix. So you didn't hear it from me, but.
No, I think this is what we tuned in for, is the inside scoop. We're keeping an eye out for new Oscar categories coming, and also for, it looks like a release of Nomadland season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And just if you could just rate the Oscars as a whole, as we're sort of wrapping up here today on the podcast. I could talk to you for hours about these films that I have not seen and will never see. Right. But before we, before we kind of wrap up, how would you rate the Oscars as a whole?
I would rate the Oscars as, what you mean, like the actual Oscars, or just this year's Oscars?
Let's go with just this year. I appreciate you building on that.
Sure. I would rate the Oscars for this year probably about 14 out of 5. Fantastic. Wow. Phenomenal. Wow. Definitely my favorite. I think the best move they ever made was getting rid of the host. So smart. Very entertaining. It's so much more entertaining, because instead of listening to one person talk, you get to listen to more people talk. It's great.
Yeah. I might take that advice from my own podcast here, because I think it's just the two of us. But I think what I'm hearing is maybe if we added in, 9 or 10 more hosts, and then also maybe 9 or 10 more guests, and we kind of made it a little bit more of a party.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it will work well.
All right. Well, do you have a final message out there? Anything else on your end? As we're sort of getting to the end of Oscar season, anything you'd like to say to my audience out there?
I would say, if you're listening to music, if you're at work, if you're taking a nap, if you're eating, you're not watching a movie. And that's what you should be doing at all times, always. Movies are the greatest thing ever, and that's why we celebrate them with an award show that's very open to the public that anyone can attend, including you. So, start hopping on that video knowledge, the movie knowledge, and come join me and my brethren on the red carpet.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, this has just been a real thrill.
I'm super happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Frank.
Yeah, thank you. Next, we're going to speak to Tim Okiwe. He is a Nigerian-born basketball player with no arms. We'll talk to him soon. Thank you so much.